Okay, now let's look into this step first. How do we find the parabola that goes through these 3 points, the 3 points that we assumed before? Now, when we have a linear equation like this, so for example, y is equals to mx plus c. So if you remember from your intermediate geometry, if I have 2 points, if I know 2 points, then I can find the line, the straight line that actually crosses through this point. Okay, if I have another 2 points like this, okay, another 2 points like this, then the line that crosses through this should go like this. Okay, so I need 2 points to identify a straight line. So this is like x1 y1, x2 y2, and if I have something like this, then the equation becomes m is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, you can place it like this way: y1 is equals to mx1 plus c, y2 is equals to something like this, mx2 plus c, and so this is for a straight line. Now in a straight line I have two unknowns. That one unknown is my m, that's the slope, and c. Okay, this portion c. So when we have a parabola like this, when I have a parabola like this or like this, I have the equation y is equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Okay, so when I have this equation of a parabola, general equation, I have three unknowns: a, b, and c. Okay, so since I have three unknowns, I need 3 points, 3 points in the curve. Okay, if I know 3 points that is assumed, then I can find the parabola that goes through that 3 point. Okay, now the 3 points was assumed in the previous step. Now the question is how we can find this a, b, and c from those 3 points. Okay, now let's see. So first, let's assume this was our curve. The points that we assumed is x0, x1, and x2. So let's say this is my x0, x1, and x2. That means this is my point, this is my point, this is my point, this is my f of x0, f of x1, and f of x2. I have calculated these things. Now based on this 3 point, I want to find my parabola. Okay, so we can write a equation f of x is equals to ax square plus bx plus c. That is our general equation of a parabola. But here, for convenience, okay, we'll modify it a little bit, a slight modification. We'll use it like this way: f of x equals to a into x minus x2 whole square plus b into x minus x2, okay, plus হচ্ছে c. I have just added this term. Okay, so how the points look like? So first I have this f of x0. So if I place it here, it becomes f of x naught is equals to a into x naught minus x2 whole square plus b into x naught minus x2 plus c. Then similarly I have f of x1, right? F of x1, that is equals to a of a into x1 minus x2 whole square plus dot dot dot. Okay, plus dot dot dot. Next I have f of x2, but here as you can see, a of x2 minus x2 is equals to 0, b of x2 minus x2 equals to 0, then I remain f of x2 equals to c. Okay, direct. So I have found these three equations. these three equations, this one, and this one. And these three value, f of x0, f of x1, and f of x2, is already known to us because I know the f of x, I know the equation. F of x equals to the original equation, that is x cube minus 13x plus something. Okay, this is the equation of this original curve, the curve of which I am trying to find the root. Okay. Now I have the unknowns. The unknowns are, this is also known, x0, x2, and x1, these are also known. My unknowns are a, my unknowns are b, and my unknowns are c, but I already found c. Okay. I have two unknowns remaining, a and b. How we can find that now? So to find those values, four new terms are described, introduced, that is h0 is equals to x1 minus x0. Okay, then h1 is equals to x4, then x2 minus x1. Okay. Then I have delta 0 is equals to f of x1 minus f of x0, okay, divided by my h0. Okay, and delta 1 is equals to f of x2 minus f of x1 divided by h of 1. Now as you see that I know the value x1, I know the value x2, all of these things. That means I know this, I know this, I also know this value and this value. So I know all the four terms. So once I calculate all the four terms, using this four terms, what I can do, I can place those things here in this equation. And if I place those things in the equation, change the equation, you can change it like this way, a into f like this, into x like this. So if you to try like this, h0 plus h1, this will give you x2 minus x1. Okay, so if you place it in the first equation, it becomes a into h0 plus h1 whole square plus b into h0 plus h1, but there will be minus h0 plus h1, minus is outside, so minus b. Okay, things like this you can actually check it by yourself. So you will have, you just place these portions, this value, these parameters in these two equations, in this equation and this equation. Okay, if you place it, so you will get two equations, and from this equation you can find that the a is equals to delta 1 minus delta 0 divided by h1 plus h0. Okay, you can derive it by yourself. Okay, it is just simple thing. Now b is equals to a into h1 plus delta 1, and c, we have already calculated c, that was f of x2. Okay, so let's wrap up. Let's try to understand what we just did. Let's try to understand. First, this was the scenario. First I have to assume 3 point. Okay, then I have to calculate f of 0, putting it this equation, in this original equation of the polynomial. Okay, I can find this value. Then I have to find the parabola that goes through these three values. To do that, I take help of the parabolic equation. Okay, then I do some processing, define some parameters, then using those parameters, okay, I can find this a, b, and c. These three actually defines my parabola that we want to find. Okay, so after this step I have the parabola. So what do we do after we have the parabola? If you come here, after I have the parabola, I have to find the roots of the parabola, and you already know how to find the roots. You know this a, you know this b, you know this c. Okay, but here we are going to use this formula. This goes up, this goes down, then a, b, c, there should be a minus, I think. Okay, a, b, c. So from this thing you can calculate r. Okay, so once you calculate r, then you place it here and go follow the next steps. Okay, then repeat. Okay, so in the next lecture I'm going to show you a mathematical example of this way, how we are actually going through this way. Then we'll show the code. Okay, then we'll see the code in MATLAB code how you can do that.